Right, you get the plates. I'll get the bottle opener and fetch the pickles.
Where's your mum?
Babysitting at our Audrey's.
Hey, what am I doing having fish and chips? I was just going to run you home.
You didn't have to get them. It was me that wanted them.
I know, but as soon as that smell wafted into the car from the silver grid, what can a man do?
I won't do you any harm, just this once. Do you want some bread?
No, thank you. Well, just a slice. Have you got any brown? I always think brown's so much less fattening than white.
Hey, you're a funny fella, you are. With fish and chips, butter, vinegar, tomato, ketchup and a gherkin, and you worried about the calories in one slice of bread.
I like to watch me figure. I like to eat well-balanced meals. On a night like this, I feel I'm being unfaithful to me stomach.
Well, if you're going to be unfaithful, you might as well go the whole hog and gobble the lot. I mean, if you were being unfaithful to Thelma, would it ease your conscience if you kept your socks on?
No, of course not.
Of course not. Have a pickled onion.
Ta. Oh, fantastic.
Forbidden fruit, eh?
Aye. Oh, I've just remembered something.
What?
Thelma was going to leave me something in the oven. Lasagna.
What's that?
Oh, it's Italian, isn't it? She does it very well. She gets it from a cookbook we got free with the new cooker.
Oh, really?
She'll have gone to a lot of trouble to make me that.
Look, if you don't want yours, I'll have it.
No, keep your hands off. The cat next door can have the lasagna. It's too fattening anyway.
This is one of the great meals of the world, fish and chips, and the British invented it.
Aye. In the dark days when Britain was in the throes of depression and unemployment.
You mean last Christmas?
No, I mean in the 30s, before the war. That's when the fish and chip shop was invented. And it saved the poorer people because it meant the working classes could get a hot meal a day.
Right. And don't tell me there isn't any nutrition in it. Because if our parents' generation was brought up on this in the 30s, they didn't do so bad in the 40s. Not like those unhealthy Italians brought up on, what is it?
Lasagna.
Lasagna, right. They capitulated at the first hint of hostilities.
Well, I don't think diet determines national character.
I think it does. I think the national dish of a country is a good indication of the people. That's why I always avoid sauerkraut, sukiyaki and haggis.
What have you got against the Japanese? I can understand your animosity to the Germans. And the Scots, especially they're in the World Cup and we're not, but what have you got against the Japanese?
I don't know. It goes back to childhood, I suppose. I mean, when we were kids, the Japs were the enemy. Much more so than the Germans. I mean, Saturday morning pictures, it was always some fiendish, slant-eyed villain you used to boo.
I've never harboured grudges like that, even though they tortured Biggles. In Biggles in the Pacific.
There's just something about the Japanese that I don't trust. Maybe it's because my Uncle Fred was in Changi prison.
Is that why you don't like Cockneys? Because of your cousin Tom being in Woolman Scrubs?
Well, that's not a very nice thing to say now, is it? Every family's got a black sheep. Don't like Cockneys because they're southern.
Sometimes I think, Terry, that you are the most unreasonable, prejudiced, bigoted soul in all the world.
Speaking, pass the pickle.
Hey. This takes you back, doesn't it? Takes you back to the Friday nights we've come back here for fish and chips. Spent the small hours in long, pointless discussions about football or sex.
Usually both.
Not a worry in the world.
Relegation, that was our main worry.
Good days, you know, Terry.
Oh, magic, man. Magic.
Aye. Sometimes we wouldn't come back here. Sometimes we'd have our fish and chips on top of a 17 bus, going to the dance with 8 pints inside of us.
Each.
And then into the Roxy, swallowed up by that great warm, sweaty cavern, Art Sibley in our ears, and a warm, expectant tingle in our loins.
That was the 8 pints. But go downstairs, straighten our ties, share your metal comb, and have a slash and straight into the first cha-cha-cha. You'd bring 'em in close, and if they didn't hold back, if they stayed in cheek to cheek, you knew you were away.
All the girls in the Roxy dance cheek to cheek to avoid the smell of beer and pickled onions on your breath.
Magic.
Aye. Seems like yesterday, but it wasn't. It was years ago. Suddenly the past seems so much larger and the future's shrinking and I haven't got time for the present.
I don't know what you're getting so nostalgic for. You've cut yourself off from your past, you have. You're hiding from your past up on the Elm Lodge housing estate with your friends from the badminton club.
Here we go again.
I mean, what are you doing here with me, eating fish and chips in my terrace parlour, eh? Eh? You're slumming, aren't you? You should be back at Nob Hill eating spaghetti.
Lasagna.
Well, whatever it is, am I supposed to know? I'm not Fanny Craddock.
Certainly not.
Well, you're not doing too bad. You're getting through that lot all right.
I am and all. I'm going to have terrible indigestion in the morning.
That's a guilty stomach.
It is. It's just like illicit sex. You can't stop yourself doing it, but afterwards you're full of remorse.
Well, I wouldn't know. I'm not getting any sex, illicit or not.
Well, I won't be getting any for the next fortnight, will I? Not with Thelma's speciality singeing away in the oven. Talk about the old days. You're right. Nothing's changed. You're still leading me astray, aren't you? Keeping me out all night, making me drink too much, making me eat too much, filling me up with carbohydrates. I was only going to have a swift half tonight, you know. That was 7 hours ago. It's a good job they pulled the Roxy down. You'd have me down there dancing cheek to cheek.
I don't twist your arm. I don't twist your arm.
Hello, Bob.
Hello, Mrs. Collier. Hello, Ward. Nice night.
Yes, all right, thanks, Bob. Of course, I only got incapable. I had to drive my mum home.
Well, we've just had some news, I'm afraid.
Yes, Mrs. Hope rang to tell us.
What news?
Your great-uncle Jacob's gone
Gone where?
to a better place.
Oh, you mean he's left that old people's home? Well, he was never happy there.
He passed on, Terry.
Oh, never.
Oh, dear, I am sorry.
Oh, I never even knew he was ill.
Well, he wasn't. It was just like that.
Oh, dear, I am sorry.
Well, he was 81, Bob.
Oh, me great-uncle Jacob, well, I never. What a shame.
Well, I'll put the kettle on.
Well, don't you want to get back, Audrey, pet?
No, Mum, I'd rather wait till Ernie's asleep and avoid his drunken caresses.
Oh, dear, I am sorry. Was it just old age, like?
Oh, yes. Mrs. Hope said he just passed away quietly in his sleep. First time he's ever done anything quietly in his life.
Aye, that's true. He was a real character, me Uncle Jacob. Not many of his kind left.
Just as well.
Oh, what a nice thing to say.
No, it's true, Terry. He was an old devil. I know it's not nice to say a wrong word about the departed, but in your great-uncle's case, it's hard to find a right word.
He gave our Auntie Marjorie a terrible life, bless her. And since she died, well, I don't know how many homes he's been into. Do you, Mum?
Oh, I've lost count, Audrey. He only got in Studley Mount by the skin of his teeth. He was 81, but he still had his urges.
What was that first home he went into? Ilfracombe, wasn't it? Anyway, he nearly set that place on fire, rolling his own under the bedclothes.
Women or cigarettes?
Could have been both, knowing your Uncle Jacob.
Have you ever heard such heartless indifference?
Got to be said, he was a wrong un.
Well, you can call him a wrong and I'll call him a character. He was a great uncle. He was the salt of the earth. He was great to us when we were kids, you remember? We used to go around and see him and his mate, old Joe Hargreaves.
Gave Joe Hargreaves a terrible life.
Well, I'm upset if nobody else in this house is. We were just talking just before you came in about our past. My great Uncle Jacob, but he was part of my past. And I'm sorry he's gone. Gone forever. Like the Roxy.
Oh, Terry, you're letting sentiment cloud the issue. Uncle Jacob was a waster, a drifter.
He was a war hero in the First World War. He showed me his medals.
They weren't his.
He was in the front line.
Not often. He spent 3 years in the glass house in Colchester.
Oh, yes, and what about his limp?
In 1921, he had one job the entire year. Santa Claus in Bin's department store. That's how he got his limp. Got drunk and fell down the lift shaft.
He used to tell us fantastic stories, didn't he, about the trenches and about when he was in the Merchant Navy? What about all those stories about fantastic places like Shanghai and Valparaiso?
He never got further than the North Shields ferry.
And wasn't he a fur trapper in Canada? I thought he got mauled by a bear and had all his extremities attacked by frostbite.
Well, if they had been, his urges wouldn't have caused all that trouble in Studley Mount, would they?
He might have coloured things a bit, but that was just his natural storyteller's gift.
Oh, he was a liar, Terry, and a drifter, as Audrey said. When he came out of the army, he hardly did a day's work in his life. Any money he had, he drank or gambled away. He made his wife's life a misery when he was at home. And as for his friend Joe, well, he ruined that marriage. He was a bad-tempered, cantankerous, bigoted old so-and-so.
My God.
What?
She's just described you.
Oh, excuse me, I'll have to see, Mrs. Hope, is it?
Mrs. Hope's matron, yes. What did you want to see her about?
Oh, it's about Mr. Nesbit. Well, the late Mr. Nesbit, that is. I'm his nephew, you see.
Oh, no, Mr.
Dear me! I thought this was an old people's home, not a loony bin.
Shh, keep your voice down.
Well, that's true. He could do some damage with his temper and that stick. I mean, what did I say? He doesn't know me from Adam.
I'm sorry about that.
But what's wrong with him?
It was when you mentioned your uncle's name. I'm afraid he wasn't the most popular of men.
Never attacking me with a stick. That's armed assault, that is, you know.
Mr. Craig used to play cards with your uncle. We warned him, but he wouldn't be told.
Oh, I see. He always was a canny player.
I'll go and get Mrs. Hope, then.
Nice little body, though, bud.
I bet she kept your uncle's urges going.
She's keeping mine going.
Didn't we used to play cards with your uncle in that little shed on his allotment?
Aye. He taught us 3-card brag.
We used to do that allotment for him, didn't we? He used to pay us 6pence an hour. We used to do all the weeding and pull his rhubarb. Hard work and all. He never did pay us, did he?
No. He just was knocking off what we owed him, a 3-card brag.
It's a pity to think, you know, that all those stories he told us about the trenches and the China seas and fighting bears in the tundra, it's a pity to think they're not true.
They are true, of course they're true. Oh, it's just me mum and the family. They always put him down. They always take me Auntie Marjorie's side. But he was all right. He was a proud man and all. He wouldn't take anything from anybody. He wouldn't let the bosses grind him down.
Never had a boss, never worked, did he?
Well, I mean them, generally, the bosses, the Tories. He didn't work much because he beat the system. He wasn't going to swell the pocket of some profiteer and capitalist, but that doesn't mean to say that he wasn't working class in the true sense of the phrase.
You are just like him, you know. You are, you're a chip off the old block.
I'm working class like he was and proud of it, if that's what you mean,
So
yes.
am I.
Get out where you used to be.
I'm no less working class than you. I used to go to the same schools, run the same streets, live in the same drafty houses, but that was in my past. You still like to live like that. You like the old working class struggle against the odds. What you don't realise is that some of us have won the struggle, and it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, you've still lost something in the process.
What?
Something old Jacob had.
Chip off the old block.
About Mr. Nesbit, is it?
Oh, yes, I'm his nephew. Well, he's great-nephew, like.
Well, these are his effects. I shall have to ask for your signature, please.
Is this all?
Well, everything is on this list. There was a bit of cash. We warned Mr. Craig, but he wouldn't listen. His clothing, letters, photographs, a watch on a gold chain, and a pack of marked cards.
No medals?
There weren't any medals, but if you wish to trek through...
No. Where do I sign?
Just here, please. I would like to offer my condolences. I believe the service is this morning.
Yes, we're off there now, yes.
Yes, well, in the normal way, I would have attended myself, but...
Is anybody else from here going? Any of the inmates?
Residents.
Oh, no, nobody. Frankly, your uncle wasn't the most popular of men. We had a lot of difficulty.
Well, he was a character, wasn't he? 81 and still got all his faculties.
Yes, it was his faculties that caused most of the difficulties. In fact, but for his demise, we would have had to ask Mr. Nesbit to leave Studley Mount, particularly since that incident concerning Miss Armitage in the Sun Lounge.
Why does everybody say these things about him? Just because he was a bit of a character? I suppose you'd prefer a bunch of docile zombies. Make life a lot easier for you, wouldn't it, eh? If they all sat around the Sun Lounge playing drafts all day. Well, all I can hope is I'm like my Uncle Jacob when I'm his age.
You seem remarkably like him now.
Time is it?
It's not 22, we're very early.
Well, I can just sit down and wait here. It's warm.
Even warmer where your uncle's going.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, I'm sorry, Terry, but if everything everybody says about him is true, I should think his destination's fairly settled. Unless, of course, he repented. Repented at the last minute.
What difference does that make?
But you know what they say in the Bible? There's more joy in heaven over one sinner repenting than any amount of ordinary people just being good.
Well, if old Jacob did repent, it'll be a hell of a ding-dong when he arrives.
It's a bit unfair, though, isn't it? It's a bit unfair. Somebody leads a life like him, and then at the last fence he says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. It's a bit unfair on good people who keep their noses clean all their lives. It's about that woman who lives opposite my mother, Miss Fairchild, that sells church magazines, wages war on want, helps dumb animals across the street. Her kind's taken for granted when she gets up there.
Rasputin. He had the right idea.
Did he?
Certainly. I saw it in this film, Nicholas and Alexandra. Rasputin reckoned that God liked sinners, so he owed it to God to sin as much as he could. He spent his entire life drinking vodka and having it away with Russian peasants. Confident that when he got to heaven, there'd be all this rejoicing.
So unfair.
That's life. Or rather death.
Very unfair, though, isn't it, on people like Miss Fairchild? What do they do when she gets up there? Oh, you've arrived, have you? There's a magazine. Your cloud's over there. Well, just excuse us, we've got a party on next door for Rasputin.
The thing is to give yourself time to repent.
Just, but it's a bit tough if it happens suddenly, doesn't it? If you get run over or struck by lightning. What if that happened to us today and we hadn't repented?
Oh, you'd be all right, you would. Ex-Queen Scout, you've applied for the Rotary Club. You've been faithful to Thelma, indeed, if not in thought. And you're good to your mother and you pay your rates prompt.
I don't think celestial membership depends on whether you paid your rates or not.
No, but it's a sort of indication as to the sort of person you are. No, you'd have no bother.
I don't think your chances are very rosy.
Well, I've led a more full of an active life than you, haven't I? I mean, I'm no stranger to sin. You see, in the army, I was in Germany, Cyprus and Malta. Places like that are heaving with sin.
Well, Thelma and I have been to Cyprus and Malta on our holidays.
It's not the same, though, is it? Not the same at all. On a package tour with your wife.
We weren't married on them holidays.
Pardon?
We weren't married.
Well, there's no need to whisper. He knows that. Just as he knows about you and Deirdre Birchwood. And us nicking dinky toys, and me getting caught. But you see, all this is just small stuff compared with, well, Mussolini or Al Capone
Or Uncle Jacob.
Every family's got its black sheep.
Yes, it's just that yours got more than most. Well, your cousin Tom and Uncle Jacob and yourself. Dear me, you've got a whole flock of them.
Well, your family's not immune. What about your cousin Lillian who ran off with that road gang on the A1? Lay by Lil, what about her?
Lillian always was a bit headstrong. She gets carried away.
That bypass would have been finished months ago if it hadn't been for her. Don't you go on about my family. Every family's got somebody. Except Thelma, I suppose. Sure, her lot's as pure as the driven snow.
No, you're wrong, as a matter of fact.
Oh?
Yes, there's this cousin of her mother's. Don't say that
No.
No, well, he's called Trevor. It's just that he's a bit,
Is he?
He was at the wedding, you probably didn't notice him.
What, did see a fella in a purple tie smelling of lilies of the valley?
That was Trevor.
Get away. Well, it takes all sorts.
Aye, the family don't see much of him. Lives with an antique dealer in Harrogate.
Well, they're all puffs in Harrogate. Oh, what time is it?
Oh, it's not 10:02 yet. We're very early. Who's coming?
Oh, they'll all be here. All my family. And old Joe Hargreaves, I suppose, if he's still mobile. And the usual mob you only see at weddings and funerals. Oh, aye, they'll all show up. Never turned up to see him at the home. or ask him back for the weekend or Christmas. Oh, no. But they'll all be here today in their bits of fur and their new hats. Hypocrites.
I think you're being a bit of a hypocrite yourself.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm sorry, Terry, but, I mean, we thought he was fantastic when we were kids, all right. He was a character and he used to tell us fantastic stories and that, but, well, it is fairly apparent that he was a bad-tempered, idle, dishonest, lecherous old bigot. No disrespect.
Well, I would like to say a few words on behalf of my great-uncle Jacob. Because somebody's got to speak in his defence down here before he gets off to wherever he's going. All he tried to do in life was go his own way. His only sin was not conforming and not becoming one of the faceless masses. He was true to himself. But for all the respect and affection that's been shown to him on this world, well, the sooner he gets on his way, the better. And what's happening?
He's going sooner than you thought.
Oh, my God, what have I done? What have I done?
Press the button.
Well, how do I stop it? How do I stop it?
Well, it's too late now, isn't it? Poor old Uncle Jacob. He's going to miss his own funeral.
I think we should know. Come on. Come on.
Have one of these, Rose. Or there's some fruit loaf Audrey made.
I shouldn't. Well, just the one.
Do you want some tea, Joe? Or you're going to stick to your beer?
Yeah, I'll have a cup of tea a bit later.
There's some napkins behind you, Auntie Elsie. Here, just in case you get meringue all down your new frock.
He was a diabetic, you know, Jacob. Oh. Never stopped in mind, eating sweets and drinking. But he was a diabetic, so he said.
Well, you never knew what to believe with him.
More cake, Kitty?
I don't know where I'm putting it.
I always thought he'd outlive you, Joe, because you never looked a well man.
I thought I'd never live as long as this myself. If I'd known I'd have taken steps to get out of North Shields.
Hello, everybody. Rose, Auntie Kitty. You remember Bob now, don't you?
Hello.
Hello, Bob.
Now, why weren't you at the crematorium?
Ah, well, yes. We went to Studley Mount, you see, and we were literally on our way to the crematorium when Bob's car broke down.
Yes, it broke down.
Everything go off all right?
No, it didn't. It was most peculiar. He wasn't there.
He wasn't there?
He'd gone without us.
Typical of our Jacob, that. We get all dressed up and traipse up to that cemetery in this bitter wind, and he hasn't even the decency to hang on for us.
Most peculiar.
Well, I felt sorry for that young vicar. He was most embarrassed.
Well, I think it was body snatchers. They used to in the old days. When I was a girl, there was body snatchers.
Yes, I just don't understand. Didn't the undertaker show up with a coffin?
Yes. The vicar saw it with his own eyes. It was most peculiar.
There's a switch, you see. Somebody must have set the switch off.
Yes, well, I think we'll just go and wash our hands.
Are you sure you two weren't there?
No, I told you. The car broke down.
Are you certain?
Positive. I swear by my uncle's grave. If you could find it. Well, not too much harm done.
Can't have helped our sin rating, though, can it? Cocking up a funeral, then lying about it.
Jacob wouldn't have minded. He'd have seen the funny side.
He'll have got there early. Catch him off guard. They won't have time to put the decorations up for his party.
Oh, look, let's nip down the club, shall we? It's like a funeral in there.
The club at lunchtime?
Yeah, it's good down there during the day. Most of the lads are laid off on part-time. Some great sessions.
I'm having lunch with Thelma. I told Thelma I was coming home for my lunch.
Oh, just a swift off.
Well...
Oh, I don't suppose you two remember me.
Of course we do, Mr. Hargreaves. You remember Mr. Hargreaves, don't you, Bob?
Of course I do. Hello, Mr. Hargreaves. Nice to see you, even in such sad circumstances.
Sad? Oh, aye. Oh, well, we've all got to go sometime. I suppose I shan't be very long following him. I'm in the crematorium Christmas club myself.
You must have known him longer than anybody.
Oh, I did that. I knew him all my life, near enough. We went to school together. Why, but this world's seen some changes since them days. 2 world wars, television, H-bombs, topless waitresses.
Well, I thought he was a fine man. Not many people have got a good word to say for him, but you knew the truth, Mr. Hargreaves.
Aye.
You were his best friend.
Aye, for nigh on 75 years, through thick and thin, good times and bad. That's a long time to know someone. That's friendship, that is. And I can honestly say that he was a terrible man.
What? Well, if you feel that way about him, why did you put up with him all these years?
Why? That's what I'm constantly asking myself. You know, it wasn't easy in those days to cut yourself adrift and get on, but I managed it. Even married above my class. And then over the years, he'd keep coming back, borrowing money, making trouble. It didn't do me work any good, you know, my marriage. It seemed everything I ever tried to do, he mucked up.
Well, he didn't have much to show for it. The sum total of his life is contained in this cardboard box. And faded letters, odd coins, old photographs, and a watch.
Is it a Westgate watch with a chain on it?
Aye, this one.
I wondered when my watch had got to.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Hargreaves.
It's all right, love.
You two are being very rude sitting in here.
Well, there's no room in there, there's no chairs.
What's the matter, Bob? What's wrong with Bob?
I don't know. She's trying to bend forks by willpower.
Oh, get that for us, Terry. I've got to make some more sandwiches.
I've just seen the future. I have just seen the future.
He's going to meet a tall, dark sailor.
No, Audrey, him, he's old Uncle Jacob. And old Joe Hargreaves, that's me. He tried to better himself, he tried to get on, he married above his class, he got a nice home, he got a nice wife, but that wasn't any good. Not with Uncle Jacob leading him astray. Borrowing money, trying to break up his marriage. Jacob and Joe, Audrey. They're Bob and Terry, 40 years on.
Well, you said it, Bob.
I've just seen the future, and it's a nightmare.
Well, it's in your hands, pet. That glimpse might have been a blessing in disguise, an omen. And the solution's simple enough, Bob. You've got to cut yourself adrift from that.
It's an omen, yes. I'm going to stop seeing him. I'm going to stop doing what he wants me to do when he wants me to do it. He's not going to ruin my life.
Well, I'm pleased to hear you say it, Bob.
All right, then, let's get down the club.
No.
Pardon?
No!
Oh, come on, man, just a swift half.
I said no. I'm not coming with you. And you will realise in the future that I will be coming with you less and less and less. I'm going home now to have lunch with my wife, with Thelma.
It won't be ready.
Well, how would you know?
That was Thelma on the phone. She said, what am I going to do about lunch? And I said, just leave him something in the oven, pet. He won't be back from the club till 3:30. Away.